did a multi-point inspection, which is obviously nice of them, and they came up with several items that they wanted to perform on my vehicle. Of course, I told them no, and figured I'd do it myself. They wanted to do a coolant system service, engine air filter, brake flush, and cabin air filter. What I'm going to do today is the coolant system service. I'm not going to obviously do it exactly like VW would do it. I'm just going to drain out the majority of the fluid that I can get, and then fill it back with new coolant. As far as the coolant drain and fill goes, you need to jack up the vehicle. Remove the underbody tray here with these screws that are T25, and then inside the engine bay, just open up the cover. Make sure the engine is cold. Open up the cover for the expansion tank and just rest it there so that the air can get in and bleed out the system. You'll need some of the proper coolant, which is this. There's other brands. You can actually buy VW Audi specific brand. This is available on Amazon and ECS Tuning website, which has a lot of specific parts for VWs, Audis, BMWs, stuff like that. So that's where I found what the proper one was, and then I bought it through Amazon. And you also need some distilled water to mix it 50-50 mix. Under the vehicle on the right hand side, so the passenger side of the vehicle, you'll find the bottom radiator hose, which is right here. You follow it up and you'll see a connection up there. There is a metal pin that you have to pull out, and then you can take this connection apart, or pull it off the radiator and let the fluid drain out. You'll have to have a bin handy to catch it. It's going to be a messy affair. So here's that connection, and what I've done is I'm wiggling right now this flathead screwdriver that I've wedged in there to release that pin from the connection, and that'll allow the tube to be removed from the radiator. One tip before you pull that tube off, or the connector off, is there's an electrical connection at the top of that connector that goes on the radiator, and just remove that. You just press down on this thumb lock, and then you pull that straight up, and you can take this off, and that'll help you to remove that tube. With that electrical connection off, you can pull down on that tube and drain out the last bit of fluid from there. Speaking of fluid, this is what my fluid looks like when it's out. It actually looks pretty clean. So usually when it needs to be replaced, it'll be more cloudy than this. So again, the stupid dealership trying to make money off me tells me a service that I don't really need. Once all the fluid is drained out, you press that connection back onto the radiator, and then you make sure that metal pin is pushed all the way to the left and re-engages and locks it into place. Also, up on the top of it, reconnect the electrical connection up there, and that's it. So what I've done is I've made up a 50-50 mix of new fluid and distilled water, and I'll just pour that right into the expansion tank. To get all the air bubbles out, you can actually squeeze the bottom hose. And that should work out some of the air in the system. Okay, so now that I've worked out most of the air bubbles by just squeezing the bottom hose, and the hose I'm talking about down here is right here. This one right here. You just grab it with 2 hands and just squeeze it for a few minutes, and it'll work out the air bubbles. So now what I'm going to do is I've filled the reservoir up to the top line, the max fill line, and I'm going to start the vehicle and let the water pump work out the rest of the air bubbles, and then I'll top up the reservoir as needed. Alright, when you start the car, let it get up to operating temperature, turn on the heater in the car, make sure that works, and that's about it. Actually, the level in my reservoir didn't drop at all. It might drop as it cools, so just watch it over the next couple days and refill it as necessary. But squeezing that bottom tube actually got out most, if not all, the air already, so I'm not expecting to have to refill it at all. Maybe just a little bit. In total, I got about a little under a gallon out draining the system this way. Obviously, there's more fluid in the block, but my fluid is in such good shape right now that I'm happy with the way it's done. So if I do it every 50,000 miles or so, car's got, I think, 54,000 miles on it right now, so every 60,000 miles the fluid will be in good shape, and won't actually need to flush the entire system to include the block. So that's it. That's how you drain out some of the oil and refresh it with new stuff. And there is no timing interval according to the manual. It says, I think at 80,000 miles to check the coolant, and then at 120 it says to check it again, but it never says, at least in my book, to refresh it or to drain and fill the coolant. So that's it. Hope this helps someone, and I'll see you in the next one.